So good afternoon, fellow board members, and to Mr. Solito and Ms. Ranistek, welcome. It is now 5:32 on May 12, 2021. This meeting is now being recorded, and I am going to turn to the agenda by which we need to review the minutes of the meeting of March 10 because of an error I made and our vote at the April non-meeting session. So if you folks have that in mind, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of March 12, 2021? Thank you, Mr. Eder. Do I have a second? Mr. Casolo, thank you. Any comments, edits, changes, etc.? All those in favor, please show your hands. And I'm sure Mr. Martin approved, he wrote them. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda now is to review two citations, which we had previously reviewed, but we need to now take action on the citation concerning file number 16001. I have a motion to issue the citation concerning 16001.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Casolo. For a second, Mr. Eder, thank you, sir. Mr. Solito, would you refresh our recollections quickly about the status of 16001?
16001 was one where we had made contact with the daughter of the owner. We had met there on site, reviewed everything. That was March 16th, where we met there on site, and nothing has happened to the property since then. So it's been almost 2 whole months. Even after meeting them out there, there's been no changes in the property.
Okay. And that is not the property we heard from Mr. Fox about?
Correct.
Were you copying that? Yeah, okay, it's a different property.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. All right, anybody need any further explanation about that property? Then let me call for a vote to cite the property and issue the citation to the owner of as to its blight condition. Those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Thank you. That passes unanimously. Then there is a second item. Oh, where have I lost it? Oh, wait a minute. My agenda here. Come on. 18004. We had considered that property for citation. I'd like to do that again briefly with Mr. Solito. Could you fill us in on the status of that one?
18004. No changes whatsoever there.
Okay. So could I have a motion? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Yeah,
That's it.
No changes. Yes.
Could I have a motion in favor of citing that property for its blight condition? Mr. Eder, thank you. Mr. Casolo, seconding, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Solito.
Just that's the one where I believe they're just updating the fine amount on the lien.
Okay.
That's 18-004, correct?
That is, I believe, what we're talking about here.
Okay, yeah. All right. It was, yes, okay. I just wanted to be clear. Good.
18004.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're going to get a new citation or a citation and begin the fines accruing with that.
Well, they've already been accruing since for about a year now.
Oh, so do we need a new citation for that?
Wait, let me that one was put forward to the attorneys to have because they've already been, property's already been liened and registered with the town clerk.
Okay.
And we had asked to update the lien amount
Right.
with regards to that's what that one was. Just
Okay.
yeah, that was there.
All right, then there is not a need for citation at this point. We've moved beyond that part. We're already accruing fines. Notice of the
Yes.
fines have already been issued. So I don't know that there's any further action for us to take, except that the attorneys could record an updated lien and serve that on the property owner. That would be appropriate, right? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Casalo. Oh, and let me note for the record, Mr. Lamolta has joined us. Thank you, sir. Mr. Casalo.
No, wasn't saying it.
Oh, nothing, sorry. Okay. All right,
worries.
well then, let's see. I think it'd be appropriate if the person who made that motion at my instigation, I recognize, moves to withdraw it. And the seconder seconds that motion. So Mr. Eder, I think, moved to the site. Thank you. Mr. Casalo seconded it. Both agree that it should be withdrawn at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's withdrawn. All right. There we go. Now we're made up for where we were a month ago. Now, so Mr. Salido, can we turn to you for an update on what's
No, I don't believe, wasn't, I have to go back. I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda, but wasn't 17-011 going to be cited? Let me go back to my email.
Well, we can do it now in any
Yeah.
event. We can ignore what we did before.
I'm looking at the attachment. Bob, and it just says abatement process check, no improvement noted. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong year, sorry. No improvement for 4 inspections in a row.
That is 17-011, correct. That was one of the properties that they had, Bob Burney had sent via attachment.
The attachment.
Let me just get this. Let's see.
I have a note here that the marshal sent a letter on the 28th, but I don't know how far back that goes.
The 28th of.
I didn't,
Yeah, we did that in January. That was among a number of items, letters sent, I think, at the end of January that were served by a marshal as notice of our determination of the blight condition. So that's appropriate, I believe, next to cite them and begin accruing fines.
Okay, I don't have that in front of me. I'm sorry to interrupt, guys. That's all. I just want to
Okay.
make sure we had everything was set.
All right, well, should we act on that one now, or do you want to go through your list, Mr. Salido? Yeah,
We can
should
go
act-
through. If you'd like to go through, that might clear things up. That would be, even for myself, that would be fine. We can go through my list.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Case, as we just spoke of, 16-001. We had just spoken about that one, and that's the one you voted to have them send the citation out to.
Yes, okay.
All right. The next one, 17-011. That's the, the long-standing one that there hasn't been any work done to it. 17-011. The notice was sent, and I believe that's why I believe this one was the citation was going to be sent, telling him that from 30 days from the January 28th, he was going to start accruing fines for the blight.
And did we do
Okay.
that? Did we send the notice?
I believe that one was one of them. That was one of the 2 that Bob Burney had sent. I have to make this a little smaller to see. And I believe that was one of the ones that was voted on at the
April. meeting?
At the yes, at the April meeting.
All right.
Let's
Well,
see.
let's revisit it now. Let me ask, subject to further discussion, can I have a motion to issue a citation to the property owner of 17-00011? Thank you, Mr. Lamalt, seconded by Mr. Martin. Yeah. Okay.
Can
Thank you.
I just ask, I mean, I'm a little confused because now we're talking about issuing a citation, but Bob just said that we were previously we issued a blight violations notice on the 28th and that fines were accruing from January 28th.
No,
Don't
February from February 28th, 30 days after 30 days after that blight violation notice was sent. That's
So
the
what
follow-up letter.
what does the citation do subsequently then? The fines are already accruing. What are we approving in a citation?
I believe the citation informs the owner that fines had started. The violation notice, which was sent on the 28th, basically says you definitely have violations, and if you do not correct them within 30 days, you will start accruing fines. The citation that's being sent informs the owner that as of that 30-day mark, you have started accruing fines, and I believe that there is an amount included in that citation that they have so far have accumulated up to the date of that the date of the letter.
So the citation will read something to the effect of, you were previously notified on January 28th of a blight violations notice. Your 30-day period has lapsed as of February 28th. Fines have begun accruing. The current amount is X.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I understood the process. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's good. Okay.
Would you guys think it'd be good if we had sort of like created some kind of a process map for what we do? Sort of like, this is the first thing that goes out after, what are the next steps before we advance to the next document? What are the next steps before we get to the next document? It just seems as though we're kind of guessing a lot. Am I wrong? I mean, maybe it's just me being an idiot here, which is always an option.
No, that's fair. But what is probably the best source would be the ordinance itself, and I thought I had that right here in front of me, but I'm not finding it immediately. But actually, I know that it is on the town's website. And let's see if I can get it real quick.
I'm not sure that says, exactly. So like, we talk about the notice, when we apply the lien. I mean, I guess it just wouldn't make sense to me. It would help me organize if I really kind of saw, this is what we do first. Then we don't advance to the next step unless we go through these kind of obstacles. Then, I don't know, just kind of a roadmap. So
Yeah,
we all know exactly what the documents are, what they do if we vote to do it, etc.
I can put something together
Yeah.
and show it to you, George. I'll email it to you for you to look at.
That is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe
So
all of that's included in the ordinance itself, but it just will be easier, I guess, and clearer.
Yeah. Okay. I can report that if a violation remains unabated after the date established by the Blight Review Board under Section 7, which was after our due consideration, and the Blight Review Board will review the matter, establish the amount of the fine applicable until remediation, and direct the Blight Prevention Officer to issue a citation. The final period for the uncontested payment of any citation under this ordinance shall be 30 days after the mailing or serving of the citation, following procedures defined for written notices. So that's pretty much where we are. We are directing the Blight Prevention Officer to issue the citation. We should consider is the $100 the usual amount of the fine that we would apply here and now. And
That's per day.
The citation would include notice that they have 30 days to contest the citation. Otherwise, it's then final.
So, so in this particular case, since we're just issuing the citation effective as of today's date, it's 30 days from today that the fines begin to accrue per the ordinance.
I think that's the better way, even if we could argue that it could have started on February 28th. I think we ought to just make it as of the citation date now. Civil penalty should not exceed $100 per day at this point. So
When you say this point, you mean today's date, or you're talking about the May 12th date?
I'm talking about today. Yes.
May 12th is today, is, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. The date of the date we have authorized the citation.
Okay, good.
Solito will engage with counsel to the extent necessary. I think those papers may already be drawn. And we've discussed in the past that we don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel in terms of that paperwork going forward. And hopefully, Mr. Solito can put together a citation, or in the future will, and get it served.
Yes.
All right. Any other issues or concerns about this one? 17-011. All right. Those in favor of that citation, please indicate by raising your hand. Mr. Casello, I can't tell.
see
Mr.
me?
Casello. Oh, there you go. Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Solito, back to your list.
Sorry.
That was unanimous, incidentally.
Okay, next case, 18-004. That one we had just spoken about also. No changes whatsoever there. That was the one, if you look at on my notes, it was on 1/13, that meeting, you had voted to update the lien to reflect the amount of the updated fine amount, and they're working on that. I'm sure that the lawyers are working on that as well. I think we don't have to do anything else with that.
Very good.
So how often do we update the lien on something like that?
I don't
Yeah.
think there's been any established pattern or practice at this point. I think we knew it was running about $50,000, and that was a couple months ago. So it seemed timely to let the owner know.
Got it. That makes sense.
Okay, next, 18-005. If anyone's driven by there, I have updated photos if you'd wanted to see that. The front of the most of the trees in the front of the property are down and gone. It's still in rough shape, obviously, but you can clearly see the house, and it shows much better than I thought it would. I thought we might be opening a can of worms, but I think that if he just rakes out and cuts the front lawn, as far as we go, we'll get your opinion on it. George, is there a way, if you wanted to
Let
have-
you,
yeah, just if you want to see these the pictures that I had taken, if anyone hasn't been by this particular property?
I don't share
I
my,
haven't been by it recently, but I remember it was pretty horrible, but I'd like to see it now.
Yeah.
I went by it last week and it's an improvement.
yeah. This go to meeting thing, I'm used to Zoom, but
Oh
this
yeah,
one-
to be able to do it. Yeah, I don't know whether or not it can be done. I don't.
Don't worry about it then.
Okay,
I
I will.
need
I'll
Fred
email.
Donovan.
I will email the pictures. Anyway, to you, so you'll be able to see them as soon as the meeting's over. As soon as we finish going through my list, I'll send you just a simple picture so you can see what it looks like.
Okay, good.
Okay. Next one, 20-001. That was the one that Attorney Fox had emailed us about the fact that it might be under deposit at this point, that property.
Well, yeah.
A-
I'm not sure
and-
everyone knows about that, Bob, so we ought to tell
Oh,
them.
okay. I'm sorry. Good. Yeah, 20-001. That's the one that had the for sale sign on it. I had checked the number. The number did come back to the brother of the owner, who was in real estate, or he is an attorney as well. And he had emailed, or he had been speaking with Wayne about the sale of the property. And he said that it was under contract or under deposit, and they expect to go to contract by the end of the week to a new owner. I, having been through this before with not necessarily here, I would just recommend not, as soon as we find out who the owner is, to send notice to the owner that, like a quick history, that the building has been, under our watch for a while and was expected to be improved, so that he is fully aware. I'm not in favor of resetting the clock just because they have a new owner, and because person that bought it might just be sitting on it for another year before they want to do anything as well. And I don't think that's helpful for us in what we're trying to do. So
Bob, this property, if I read this note correctly, this property is accruing fines, correct?
yes, it is.
Okay, and so we know the dollar amount, and we will be prepared to collect those at closing?
No, this particular one, which is fine. The notice of blight violations was sent out to them via Marshal Service on the 28th, along with all of the others. They did not vote to, I believe they did not vote to, or it didn't come out that we were going to bring a citation to them, definitely confirming that fines have started, simply because the owner's brother had gotten in touch with us regarding the fact that the house was going to be put on the market, and the for sale sign went back up on it. So nothing was confirmed in terms of setting a fine amount for them.
Okay, so would
I
you
guess
give me
I'm
a
struggling with the note then, Bob, 'cause it says, however, the information would not automatically cease the accrual of fines, which would suggest to me that there was therefore an accrual of fines to not automatically cease. So am I reading it wrong, which is again possible?
No. It's from what I understand, in the blight violation, in the notice of blight violations, it says you have 30 days from the date of receiving this notice to contact the officer to start cleaning up the property. And if you don't, fines will begin accruing 30 days from the date of the notice of blight violation. I'm almost positive that's what that is. The
But the note-
citation.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
No, and the citations are basically, since nothing really has happened, the citations are notifying them you had gotten the notice of blight violations, you haven't corrected any of the situations, so we're letting you that as of that date that was stated in the notice of blight violation, you have been accruing fines, and so far it is up to this amount. That is what I believe and what I read also in the paperwork that the attorneys had initially turned over to us for me to sign, to have them get back to them. So this notice, even though it goes back to the 28th, they are still, because nothing was improved other than notifying us that it was going up for sale, nothing in the property is improved. So I believe the notice states that as of 30 days from reception of that notice, they haven't done anything. So
All right, I'm totally confused now, because in number 17-001, they had previously been served notice of blight also, and we subsequently just voted to issue the citation and said that the fines would begin to accrue as of the date of the citation. So it's either the issue of notice or it's the citation, but it can't be both. It's gotta be one or the other. And in this case, we have not issued a citation yet, so there should be no fines accruing unless we're gonna have a different procedure for the property.
And Dave,
Right.
that's exactly my point about this. Why is this so unclear? It's like, it should not be this unclear to us.
There should be a procedural, I agree with Michael, there needs to be a procedural list that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here's what we do, here's how frequently we update liens, blah, blah. It should be like a procedural map.
Yes.
That's
So much-
fine. That's
There's
fine.
only-
And again,
Yep.
I refer you to, and we'll do that, or I'll ask Mr. Solito to do that. But I can repeat the terms of the site, of the Section 8 enforcement. The Blight Review Board will review the matter, establish the amount of the fine applicable until remediation of the violation, and direct the prevention officer to issue a citation. The final period for the uncontested payment of any citation under the notice is 30 days after the mailing or serving of the citation. So we have not done that latter part. We have not set the amount of the fine and directed the blight prevention officer to issue the citation. So I don't think we're in a position
That's why I
to.
read it as well, George. That's why I read it as well, except the highlighted note in yellow was confusing to me because it suggests that we were already accruing fines, but to your point, we never sent the citation which would initiate that.
That's right. That's right.
Bob, are
Yes.
you on 20001 or on 18005? Because I'm getting a little confused by where we are.
Sure. Right now, we're talking about 20-001.
Okay, thank you. Because 18005 was the next one on your list.
The list is not in order.
Yeah, we discussed that one. That's where the lawn needs to be cut and has been overgrown.
The front, yeah, that's the one. The front of the property was all wooded, and you couldn't see the house.
So 20001 is, I just saw Fox's memo or email to me. He confirms the property is under contract. He gave me the name of the contract purchaser, and will keep us posted.
Okay, I'm just calling up right now the notice of determination of blight violations. This was sent out but this is to the owner of 20-001. It states the violations, and it states you are directed to remove, correct, or abate these violations within 30 days from the date of this notice of violation. Failure to take corrective action within this time shall result in an automatic citation being issued against you. Now, if this is contrary to, obviously, if this is contrary to what the ordinance says, then this has to be changed. Such
Yeah.
a citation, shall
I'm
carry a
looking at-
penalty of $150 per day. Now, this is the notice of blight violations that was sent out 1/28.
All right.
Now, if I could only find those documents that Bob Burney had sent to us to open it up and take a look at, I believe that says you were issued the notice, 30 days have gone by, and you have now accumulated so much money in fines, but I can't find those. Those are just come through on they came through on an email for me to sign, and that was when we found out about the April meeting not being able to count.
Okay.
So I'm not, like I said, and when I do this, eventually when I do write all this up, I will send you each of the master of each of the forms so you could see what it reads. And if they do need to be changed to, if it's different from what the blight ordinance says, then we'll change it so that we are all on the right page. I thought that everything had been checked, but You know,
Yeah. Well, I
and my
would-
wife clearly says I always make enough mistakes for everybody.
Well,
So,
but those letters were not drafted by you, I don't believe.
No,
Or-
they were not. They were drafted by Bobby Bernie and sent to me to sign and return to them. But for some
Oh.
reason, I cannot find those in my email, and I do
Oh.
not understand why. Because they were there, and I did read them prior to. I was about ready to sign them and print them out. I will find those and I will send those to all of you as well, so that you know what we're doing. But Mike, you're absolutely right. You need to be clear. You all
So-
need to be clear as to how things are going. I'm sorry.
If I have succeeded in sharing my screen,
Yes, you have.
should be looking at section 7 and 8 of the blight ordinance. So that you can read along with me in section 7, which is prior to the citations. So where it says if a probable violation is not resolved within the time frame cited in the warning, and I suggest we've issued the warning.
No,
matter-
the warning is actually, that warning actually is sent by me before it ever gets to you. If I see violations, I will issue it, and that's just a warning to them saying, hey, you have some issues here. Let's try to get it resolved.
Okay.
And that's
good.
what that warning is. That one, again, because I don't need to get board approval to send a warning. It's only after that I would refer it to you should not enough be done.
Okay. So this one was obviously referred to us, and then it says at its discretion, the Blight Review Board within 6 months of the matter's referral may issue a notice to the recipient of the warning stating probable violations, the conditions evidencing such probable violations, and requiring attendance at a hearing to determine whether the probable violation as described in the warning merits the issuance of a citation. So I believe we've covered that base.
Right. That is the quote unquote violation notice, not a warning. That is a notice of violation.
Okay. So then, if based on evidence presented at the hearing, the Blight Review Board determines that a violation has occurred, it will establish a date by which such violation shall be fully abated. The date by which such violation shall be fully abated shall not be less than 30 days from the date of the written determination is mailed and served. Should the violation not be remedied by the assigned date, a citation may be issued as described below.
Right.
Special consideration may be given to those who require it in order to correct a violation. Specifically, the board can grant additional time. All right.
Correct.
Then, if it remains unabated, as it says in section 8, after the date established under section 7, as we just reviewed, then we review it again and establish the amount of the fine applicable until remediation and direct the blight prevention officer to issue a citation. So we've issued that notice. The hearing date, I think, was set in there, right, Bob? So he was told to come in within 30 days for a hearing date,
Yes.
and he didn't. And so we now have the opportunity to set a fine and direct the blight prevention officer to issue a citation. I'm suggesting, of course, now that we know it's under contract, we have a purchaser's name. And by the way, Mr. Fox also indicated that the purchaser is a builder who intends to tear it down. Given that information, I don't see any reason to proceed with a citation at this point. And as I said, we should not expect to be collecting any fine at the closing.
I think that makes sense.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
I said in this situation, that makes sense to me.
Good. Okay.
But I would
Anybody?
agree with Bob's earlier comments that the purchaser be notified of the pending. So again, so that he doesn't sit there again for a year or so until he decides to do something with it.
Yes. And yeah, that's fine. We can do that. We have the name of the purchaser. So we can get follow-up information from Attorney Fox. I'm going to, I think, stop sharing my screen. Who knows what else you might find on there. But I was sensitive to addresses I think might have appeared. Anyway. Okay, anything further on 20-001?
No,
No, but I
no,
would just,
nope.
no, not in the case at
Good.
hand, George, but just back to the ordinance. If it's an automatic, if there's an automatic nature to the fines kicking in after the 30 days, then I think we should be authorizing that citation to go out at the same time we're authorizing the warning letter to go out. Because I think when Bob read it, it said it shall, meaning it was automatically going to happen unless something stops it, in which case we shouldn't have to wait the 30 days, then have a meeting, then authorize the letter to go out. Shouldn't it go out automatically?
I'm not sure that we shouldn't have a little sensitivity after a hearing. Have them
Okay.
come in for a hearing and then see whether or not it's appropriate to actually proceed with the fine and citation. But we can do that on a case-by-case basis as well.
David's got something he wants to say.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
If I heard Bob right, the first notice he sends on his own, right?
Correct. That's a warning.
It's a warning. It doesn't involve the board. Secondly, we then send a notice, which is referred to as a notice of blight violations, that invites the owner to come in and contest the notification.
Right.
If he fails to appear and no changes appear at the property, we then vote to issue the citation, from which time the clock begins to tick on the fines 30 days post.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how I understand the procedure.
Do they start ticking 30 days post the citation or 30 days post the original letter?
Post the citation, that's what the ordinance says.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So on 20-001, we're going to inform them that fines will accrue to the new owner if he doesn't correct the problem. Am I thinking correctly?
We should specifically say that the board is inclined to cite him for the blight condition with fines to begin if it is not promptly remediated upon conveyance to him.
Right. So the owner gets out. He's been for a year and 2 months. He's just been able to ride away from this.
Yeah, apparently he is not well. To give, Ally may know more about this than I do, but that's what I picked up from Mr. Fox. That's why we've heard from his brother. The owner is living in some other, I think, a healthcare related facility.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't have details about that. Maybe Ally, do you know anything about that?
I'm not familiar with the owner.
Okay. I believe I heard. So it's all rank hearsay. Don't rely on it, but that's what I picked up from Attorney Fox. All right. So next.
Okay, next we go to 7-019. This one we are at the the owner has received an official warning notice, and that's been we received back a certified mail card from the Postal Service confirming the receipt of the warning notice. That was received the beginning of March. That was sent out March 8th. We got the card back on the 18th. And since the 18th, there hasn't been any changes. So where we are now, I guess, if I read everything correctly, if you wish to send out an official notice of violation, you can authorize me to send one of those out. We are just at the end of the warning stage where
Right.
and nothing's been done.
Just to be precise with wording, Bob, the official warning has already been issued. That's what was issued in March.
It was sent. Yes.
Return receipt has been confirmed. We're now at the
Yes.
process where if the board chooses to do so with this property, we would cite the property, which would begin the onset of the fine process. Just
Well,
trying to keep the language tight so we all
Yes.
understand exactly where we are.
David,
Well,
thank you. That was actually very unclear until you said that. So thank you for that.
The next thing would go out after the warning would be a notice of violation. Now, it wouldn't automatic, because I said the warning is just sent out by me. Once I tell you that we have an issue, I have photos, you can take a look at it. Nothing's been changed. Nothing's
All
been
right,
fixed.
hang on a second, Bob. Let's confirm this. The notice that was sent on March the 8th, is that the notice that you sent without conferring with the board?
Correct.
Okay,
So in the spirit of precision here, just help me here. What are we calling each of these documents so that we don't have this confusion? Because I'm as confused as David. So the notice from Bob is the official warning of blight violation.
Is warning. Yes, that's
What
the
do we
key word.
call-
Warning.
What do we call the first one that we approve?
Notice of violation.
Okay.
There's no warning, though. I've already given them a warning. They've ignored me, ignored the warning, and I'm bringing it to you, knowing that by this point of this time, it's been at least 30 days since I have issued them warning. They've received the warning from the town, and now they haven't done anything. So now I bring it to the board for your action or your decisions, to decide whatever you'd like to do.
So the option available to us would be to do something lesser, or it would be to issue the formal violation notice. Is that
Right?
the right language?
Correct. Yes. And a lot of that would depend on, has the person gotten in touch with us? Have they called us back? Have they said they're trying to get something? Have they tried to remediate, doing anything? And then you could decide, okay, well, let's give them a little bit more time. Which is whatever you decide to do. And I just tell you what I've heard back from the person. They've received the notice. No calls have gotten back to me. They've not returned anything back to me. No correspondence whatsoever. So I'm telling you that as of the 8th, which is March 8th, which was 2 months ago, nothing has happened. I've gotten no communication from them.
Okay.
Am I correct? If I'm reading this correctly, I see this has been going on since 2017. Am I correct in that?
Yes, it has been.
August 15th, you say a fight, right? The BWL, I presume means Blight water set.
Warning letter.
Warning letter set. And then in January, a first soft blight warning letter was sent. And no follow-up, nothing, no follow-up, no follow-up, no follow-up. This person has been ignoring us. This is the clutter issue all over the front lawn and everything. Is that the same house?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of them. Yes.
Why are we still dealing with this thing in terms of warning letters?
I believe, Allie, I believe she had been in touch with. Sorry, Allie. You had been in touch. She has called you or talked to you about the owner for 17-019 and
At the beginning, yes, we had provided a dumpster years ago, and then periodically when I've been asked to call her, I have. It's been months since I was asked to call her. Last time I did, it was not very pleasant. And I was trying to engage her, but it was not successful.
Yes, so this was a case where she had been in touch. You know, occasionally some things there was an attempt to clean things up and organize, and
That was
then
like at the beginning. That was, I think,
yes,
back
exactly.
in 2017.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of why it's been handled the way it has been. But again, since at least since the beginning of, or since at least since I've been here, I can't speak about prior to July of 2020, but I'm sorry, of 19. But you know, it was one of those that, yeah, maybe it could have been dealt with, but a little bit firmer. But I think we've reached enough is enough with this. But again, that's the board.
I'm just looking at my notes. The last time I spoke to her was in October of 2020.
George,
Yeah,
can I
well-
check on something with you? You're the only attorney that I know of on this committee. But what I just heard Bob say is he sent an official warning, right? That's the notice that he sends by himself. He's
Yeah.
saying that the next step is to issue an official blight notification issued by the board. But the actual blight ordinance doesn't reference a blight notification. It references only the blight certification or the blight citation, excuse me. So I'm perfectly okay with having that middle step as a way to give a homeowner in our town, one more chance to be notified of the issue before we issue a citation. But we're making a conscious choice to do so, creating a form of notification that's not specifically referenced in the ordinance.
I hear you. And so I refer you to section 7, which should be on your screen now. And it's indicating that at our discretion, within 6 months of the matter's referral from the blight prevention officer, we may issue a notice of the warning stating the probable violations, et cetera, and requiring attendance at a hearing. I think that's key. I think we haven't done that yet, or I assume we haven't. Mr. Solito's notice doesn't require attendance at a hearing to determine whether the probable violation as described merits the issuance of a citation. So I think we ought to issue that letter, that warning, and indicate a hearing date. And then after evidence presented at the hearing, we determine the violation has occurred, and we will establish a date by which it must be abated, et cetera, as provided in section 7 there. At which point, if it's not, then we issue a citation.
I'm still confused here because we've sent her 6 blight violation notices.
But I don't think we've suggested she come in for a hearing, unless I'm wrong about that, Mr. Solito.
I'd have to look at the file. There hasn't been one since I've been here.
Okay.
I don't know if
So
something.
whatever
was
I don't think there
prior.
was. She's never been in for a
Yeah,
hearing.
well,
I don't know if she was invited.
She's been hostile when Ally talked to her. This doesn't sound to me like she's going to come to any hearing. I'd be shocked. If you want to try it, go ahead and try it. But this has gone on since 2017. She's received 6 violation notices, and she's completely ignored every one of them.
Michael, I think you're spot on with your analysis. But what I'm arguing for is that we tighten up a procedural process.
I agree with you.
Completely agree.
In that circumstance, and to give Darien homeowners one final opportunity to appear before us and argue their case. I like George's recommendation, and I would motion that the board issue the official notice of, or what do you call it, George? The official blight?
It's a notice of the warning. They issue a notice of the warning is how it's referred to here.
Okay.
So I guess it's to say you have already received a warning from the blight prevention officer. So now we are giving you notice that you did receive that, and we're calling you to a hearing in 30 days.
I can,
Help me understand this woman, okay? Ally, you did talk with her at one point. She's an old lady, isn't she?
No, she's not a senior. She's
I mean,
under
when-
65.
But when you ask somebody to attend one of our meetings, if she doesn't have the ability to do so on Zoom until we can meet in person, is that a possibility? She could just use that as an excuse.
Possible, yeah, I guess so. That would be some reaction at least, and we do have some discretion to give her some more time.
If we are going to schedule a hearing for her, it is possible for us to have a meeting in room 206. Just under the health department, Connecticut State Health Department guidelines. Any such meeting with the number of people we have here and her and a few people to support her, we would still be able to have the meeting in that room. The only difference, the only issue is that you have to, according to the Connecticut Department of Health, you have to be masked for the meeting. All right,
Yep.
that's the current guidelines. There's a discrepancy between the Connecticut Department of Health and the CDC on this issue, but for right now, that is the understanding. At least that's per the memo I got from Jamie today.
Okay,
So we could schedule a hearing for that room, provided everybody's prepared to appear and wear a mask in the room.
okay.
Good, that's good info, good update. Anybody have a problem with appearing masked up?
no.
Not at all.
Oh,
No.
happy to do it.
Okay,
And I know this is another one of those things I think we should just really have in this protocol that just is, first there's Bob's warning and whatever we want, whatever it's officially called. Then there's our warning, whatever it's officially called. That then kicks off the request for the hearing. Then there's the next thing. But this just should be really simple. And we don't have to, it doesn't make it automatic to advance. It doesn't make it automatic to advance. We still have the options to go back to the homeowner, to David's point, to give them another opportunity. We have that flexibility when we meet to advance it. But we should at least know, okay, this is the next step. We either move it ahead or we choose not to, and et cetera.
I'm going to undertake that for you, Mr. Solito. I'm gonna get some bullet points out of these various sections we're looking at, and I'll share that with everybody.
Okay.
And we can at that
Thanks,
point.
George. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Cosello probably can't join us the 30-day mark. If that letter doesn't go out for a couple of days, I wonder how strictly, not less than, I think it says not less than 30 days. Oh, I'm just wondering that when the hearing would be. Our next meeting is probably 30 days exactly, if it's the second Wednesday of June. So do we make it since that letter won't go out today, do we then make it the second Wednesday of July? I don't see why not, I guess. What is it? Requiring attendance at a hearing. All right, so it doesn't say that it has to be within 30 days. We just would require her attendance at a hearing to determine whether the probable violation as described merit citation. So
Would I suggest that you, I'm sorry, yeah. Would you suggest if there's enough time, put the date of the next meeting down, and you are required to attend at this date unless you call to reschedule, to say I'm on vacation, I can't come that date. Can I come another date? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I think there should be, if I can't come with that date, an alternative, what days are you available if you can't come on that date?
Well, it really ought to be a regular meeting date, don't you think? Do we want to have a special meeting for that?
No,
We
we don't.
I don't think we want to have special meetings. They need to appear on a date when we're already meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
And if next month would not be possible due to the timing issue, we can go ahead and tell them for July 7th, which would be the second Wednesday in July.
Good. In-person, room 206. That assumes, Mr. Solito, can you find out if that room is available at 5:30 on July 7 or whatever the date is?
July
will.
14th.
Yeah, we're on July 4th, not July 7th that week, and I can dial into it, but I cannot be there physically on the 14th.
No,
If it works for you.
the second, isn't the second Wednesday of July the 7th? No, you're right. You're correct. It'll be the 14th. Sorry.
That was room 206, you said?
Yep.
Wait,
Got it.
you said 208, didn't you?
That's 206, the Selectmen Board
Well,
room.
it's 206. It's the.
I thought you were talking about the meeting.
As long as-
I don't know. I haven't
206,
seen,
right. Yeah, okay, right, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
I don't know that a telephone is available in that room to call into or to
Well,
listen.
I guess I thought, is there still a go-to meeting as part, or is it just entirely live? It just means that I won't be there and you guys, I won't be there. That's okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't think, I
George,
mean,
there's,
Channel 79 may pick it up. Yep.
there's definitely a telephone there because we've had, outside attorneys dial into that number.
Oh, okay.
For other issues that we have dealt with. I have not participated in a meeting that was a combination live and go to meeting. So I don't
Okay.
know, I don't know if that technology is available.
Either way, we've got 2 months to figure it out, and worst cases, there's just one fewer person there. So if there's a way for me to connect in electronically, I'm happy to do so. And if not, I'll leave it in everyone's capable hands.
At
Okay.
a bare minimum, Michael, if you're available, you can dial in. We can get the
Oh,
number.
absolutely. It's blocked in my calendar, so I can definitely do it. We'll be on the West Coast that week.
I can throw into the mix the fact that pre-pandemic, you wouldn't have been able to vote.
Exactly.
But I don't know what the current state of that law is, so. Okay. So letter to be issued 17-019, calling for a hearing on July 14, room 206, live and in person. Okay, you got another one, Mr. Solito?
Just one more. Yes,
Do we
at
need-
20,
George,
Sorry.
do we need to vote on that?
Oh, yeah, we should. Yep, sorry. Very good. Very good. So can I have a motion
So
to,
moved.
thank you. And did I see Mr. Eder raise his hand to second it? Everybody in favor of issuing that letter and of providing for the hearing as described? It looks like, yep. Thank you. That's unanimous. Okay. Now you've got your marching orders there, Mr. Solito.
very good. Do you want me to do up a letter? I'll show it to you, George, or is it something
Yes.
you want to? Okay.
Please.
I'll make something up about that, and then I'll show it to you before anything gets sent out.
If
you want to
should
share
go
it with the
on
board, yeah.
signature, that's fine too. But I'd
Okay.
appreciate you drafting it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the last one, case 20-003. This one is one that's, it could have been a disaster, but it is still continuing to improve. Actually, it was a absentee owner that was leasing the property to someone, and he had no idea it was getting the way it was. And it's slowly, he's having the tenant, he's cleaning his, getting the place worked up. And actually finding out that from the owner that he might be looking to sell it anyway. So he would be out from under that tenant, and that would be something cleaned up. So,
Good.
and that's all that I have. Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
The tenant's
Okay.
gone.
No, the tenant's still there. The tenant's still there. The tenant is actually cleaning, is at the behest of the owner, is cleaning up his own it's his own. It's the tenant's a mess, you know, but
Right.
they're working on it. Yes.
George, at the risk of prolonging the meeting just for a couple minutes, I took a look at the full list, and you know, we've had 34 closed, but we still have 10 that are being watched. And
Yes.
as we look at those 10 that are being watched, some of them have been watched since 2017, and
Yes.
very few of them have been actually, I guess, visited. But my thought is this: can we move some of those to our closed list at this point in time, just to clean up this just to shorten this list that we look at every month? We don't have to discuss it tonight, but maybe again, this is an action item we should kind of look at and agree on and move forward with.
May I
That-
suggest we task you, Mr. Solito, to look at those items with that in mind?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I could say that some of them, most of them have improved to a good state. I had kind of had this discussion when I first started because I wanted to close some things out, and I was told, well, don't close out the number. If it's still the same ownership and there might be a tendency to reaccumulate items, they wanted to keep the same case number, which I kind of wasn't in favor of, because you end up having this, you're having a long list of stuff that you're watching that, you know, really doesn't warrant to be watched. It can be closed. And if there's another complaint or something comes up, we would just open up another complaint. And I don't, you know, that was all discussed when I first started. I think I can convince the powers that be that we can, you know, we'll issue just different complaint numbers if that happens. But I will go through, make sure everything is, and provide you with an opinion on mine, and I will forward it to all of you.
Great.
Feel free to tell whichever powers that be that the board has requested that you do it this way.
Got it. And it's recorded.
I thought we were the powers that be. Well, that's a different joke.
You are. No, that's, you know what? It's, you
Different
know,
subject.
your wish is my command.
There you
So-
go. Great. That's what I'd like.
So Bob, will you be able to get to these for the next meeting then?
Yes, I'll make it a point to, yes.
And hopefully some of these watch items are, you know, in good enough repair that we can remove them completely.
Yes, yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I saw Mr. Casella move to adjourn. Mr. Lamold seconded it. Everybody was unanimous. Have a good month. Enjoy Memorial Day. See you in June.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.